Hey everybody, welcome back to Doc G's Reloading. Today I wanted to cover something I bought that I thought was gonna not be that big of a deal, and I thought, I was a little skeptical at first, but you know what? I put it on and it's been absolutely incredible. So this is from UniqueTek, and it's their Advanced Shellplate Bearing Kit, and you can go to UniqueTek.com, and it's got this really cool roller bearing, cartridge roller bearing there, and it's got a nicer ball and a spring, and then you get 6 of these washers. So here's the washer, and you get a really good set of instructions, of course. That's Lee does stuff over at UniqueTek, really good instructions. And it comes with this Loctite, so you get the green Loctite, and you get this nozzle that you just take off this cap here, and you put your needle on, and it comes out in nice little drops. And then it gives you enough to do 1, 2, 3, so you can do 5 tool heads with this bearing setup. Okay, so what I did is, so here's just one of the tool heads I have, and shell plate, I'm sorry, I have. So and this has got it's affixed on there, it's not going to come off. It's got that green Loctite on there already. So what you have to do is you have to clean everything with acetone, including this thrust washer, and then what you can use, you can just use the shank of a 1/2-inch drill bit. So a 1/2-inch drill bit works perfectly. I'll show you here. You can see how it just slides on there easy. I mean, you can use the bolt from the tool head, that's fine, but this works out perfectly, slides through perfectly, holds it in place long enough. Let it dry overnight, which is what I did. So I put this on my this is my 40 cal shell plate. I have a 223 shell plate and a 9mm shell plate, and those are the 3 shell plates I have, and they all have this thrust washer on there now. So you clean off the top here. I'm not going to go through all the instructions, and then just clean off the thrust washer you've chosen, put on a pair of gloves, take the thrust washer, clean it off with acetone really good. You put 4 little drops of this on, set it on here, wipe off any excess right away. I slid this through and just left it in a vise like this, put it in the vise here, left it in overnight, vertical, and then this is what you get the next day, where it's on there and not going to come off. So, I mean, you could get it off, you heated it up and pulled it off, it would come off, but right now it's on pretty much for good. And then what you do is you put another one of these just like this onto your bolt. So I have this entirely crimson thing on here. I'm not going to take that off right now. But on top of the bolt, so you only have 1 bolt. So you put this bolt on. That's why you have 6 of them, because you're going to have 1 that goes on the bolt, and then you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that you can use for 5 different shell plates. So I only had 3 shell plates, so I have 2 left over. And you put one of these thrust washers on here. You put another one on the bolt that slides in there and holds the shell plate on. And then you take out your old ball and spring with a magnet. I just use one of these little magnets here. I just use one of these little, these little magnets that you get that extend magnets. I just pulled the ball and spring out with that. And then you take this roller bearing here, and you put a little bit of light oil on it, put a little bit of light gun oil on it, or 5W30, something thin and synthetic is what they recommend. And then what you do is you put your shell plate on. So first of all, you put your spring, and you have to do some prep on the bottom of the thing. We're not going to get into that. I'm just going to tell you how great this is. And then you put this on with the new ball and spring underneath, and then you take your bolt that now has a washer on top underneath it, and then that roller bearing sandwiches between these 2 thrust washers. So this thrust washer here, and then the thrust washer from the bolt, and the bolt just goes through like that, and then you have your thrust washer on top sandwiching the roller bearing. And I thought, okay, this isn't that big a deal, it's going to be kind of dumb, why did I even buy this? But I was having trouble with my shell plate kind of jerking and just really not being smooth. And then I have a bullet feeder now, so when the bullets would land going from station 3 to station 4, the bullets would fall off because it was so jerky. I'm like, oh, okay. So I put this all together, and you can kind of see that there's 3 there. See, you got the washer on the bolt, you got the washer on the faceplate, and then in between, I can kind of point it out, see if I can get something tiny to point it out. And then in between, right here, I'm going to use the bottom of it right there. In between is your bearing kit. So you get your bearing. So of those 3 layers, from top to bottom, is thrust washer, bearing set, and then thrust washer again. The thrust and you're kind of not permanently binding, but you're pretty much kind of permanently binding with that green Loctite. You're binding those 2 thrust washers, one in the shell plate and one in the bolt. The one in the bolt goes no matter what shell plate you're using. And then I put that oil on, and I could not believe, watch this, and I could not believe how much smoother. I mean, this is just ridiculous. There's no jerk. There's no, I mean, it's just, no bullet has fallen off. I can maintain a rate on my Armanov counter over there. It'll say 1500 to 1550 when I really get rolling on this. And this shell plate now doesn't jerk at all. It locks into position every time. And this has made such a huge difference on my press that I wish I would have done this a long time ago. But again, you know, sometimes it takes things to grow on you a little bit. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll try it. I wish I would have done this a long time ago. It's really, you just let this stuff dry overnight. The very next day, you're going to be back to reloading because you just reassemble everything the way they tell you to. And again, I mean, these are the instructions here they give you. I mean, it's just fantastic. You've got all these pages of how to set everything up. That's a blank page there, but you got all these pages of absolute, complete, beautiful detail on how to do everything. And just follow them, and you're going to have an absolutely unbelievably perfectly running XL750, especially if you're running it fast like me. I mean, I've got a bullet feeder now and the case feeder. So bullet and case feeder. So all I do is I sit here and all I do is pull this lever. So pull, push, and push to seat the primer. And I can get this thing rolling so fast, I can be up to 1500 an hour easily and just stay at that pace, and bullets don't fall off because this is now so smooth going from position to position. You know, you always have to have a smidge play in there, you know, just like you do always. It can't be perfectly super tight, but you just do it like the instructions. And honestly, if you own an XL750 or 650, whatever, you know, get this kit for 50 bucks. This is probably the best 50 bucks I've spent on this press the entire time I've had it. And I, like I said, I regret not doing it longer ago. So this bearing kit, again, the Advanced Shellplate Kit, I'm going to put this link up in the description of the video. But if you have the presses that are mentioned, the XL750 and 650, get this kit and your shell plate will advance so much more smoothly. And with that, it's like a Delrin type of special ball there. With that little ball on there, it is so quiet. The press is actually even quieter because it's not snapping and making noise every time you go from case to case. So it's quieter, it runs faster, and it runs ridiculously smoother. All right, thanks again for watching Doc G's Reloading, and let me know if you have any questions.